watch all my videos, not just the not just React videos. Yesterday I did a video on using a headless CMS called Strapi to just show you how you can use a headless CMS in an Ionic application. This is the CMS. I created a series of documents that have a title, a body, and an image associated with them. What I'm going to do now is to show you how to write the same app to manage all of this content with React. So if you want to know what Strapi is and more about it, I will include the link to not only Strapi, but to the first part of the video where I cover what Strapi is. This part right now, I'm just going to show you how you use Ionic and React to query these image posts objects or pieces of content, and how you add additional ones to the system. So like I said, I'll put the link in the information below so you can see the other video. And kind of let's get to it. Or before I get to it, in case you kind of go and you're working on both Ionic and React and Vue like I am, I have a Vue.js class that I posted on Udemy. If that's the kind of thing you're interested in, check it out. And I have a book coming out on Ionic and Vue also. If there's enough interest, I'm thinking about kind of taking those same books in the same way I took that Vue video from yesterday, and I'm not doing it in React. I'm considering doing that with the other content that I've released. So let's get to the code, because that's what you're here for. Now that we got everything all set up, let's get to the coding. So the first thing we need to do is we need to load in the information from the content management system. And we're going to do that with the useState up at the top here. So let's get that going. So not there. Well, const use no. We are going to call these guys image post image, and then set image posts. Use state. We'll put that in there, and then what we're going to do is right here at the top, we're going to do a use state to load the data. We are going to say we just want this to run when you start up. There's no dependencies. And then what we need to do inside of here is we need to make an asynchronous API call to get the posts. And the asynchronous API call that we need to make is this. This is the URL to the CMS, and this is the collection that we want to get. We want to get the image collection posts. So that's what we want to do a fetch on. As you can see, it's not happy here because I need to do asynchronous in here. And so kind of a hack that I use to get around this is I just create this anonymous function in here that's asynchronous, and then I actually call it. So we can do this. And so I created this anonymous function, and then in here I say this function is async, A, S, Y, and C. And so now everybody's happy. I'm getting this little warning. Expected 0 to 1. What do you mean you got 2 arguments? There's no arguments. Why is that? UseState cannot be called at the top level. Oh, UseState, it's in the wrong place. It needs to be here inside of my function. My bad. So there we go. And then expected 0 to 1 arguments, but got 2. What do you mean you got 2 arguments? You got to empty. Why is that complaining? Use effect. This is UseState up here. So let's get this, add my use effect. There we go. Now let's run this. UseState cannot be called at top level. I did the same thing here. I put my UseState outside my function. Let me get it back inside my function. Okay. Now it looks like my code is compiling. So now we did this fetch. And then after the fetch, for those who used fetch before, you know that you need to kind of convert it using a JSON object. So what we're going to do is we're going to say set image posts, and then we're going to say await response.json. And that should take the response that we're getting back and convert it to JSON. Let's get that out of there. And then just kind of to check what we're getting, let's quickly go in here, and we want to put an ion list. And then around that, inside that list, I have an ion item, and then let's get this ion list automatically added. Why is my automatic addition of things not happening? I don't know. Ion item, ion list. Well, not item divider, ion item. Okay. Oh, so the item got added. Item list. We know that this is going to be So what we want to do is we want to loop through the results. And so that result of image post dot map, and then we're going to set this, we're going to wrap around the ion item. We're going to close, and then we're going to end our function. So now it's saying image post might be null, so let's do our Elvis. Map does not exist on type never, so let's put a type any on our state here. Okay, that makes that go away. And so any is not defined. I think that should be good. Okay, so now that's interesting. I should have some items in my list, but let's keep going. So let's say P any, so that's our item. And then if we remember, if we go back to our content manager, if we remember, we have a title, we have a body, and we have an image. Okay, so this is what we want from our P, is our title, our body, and our image. So what we're going to do that is, how we're going to handle that is, first of all, we're going to assign our key. Our key is going to be equal to p.id. So that's for each one of our items. And then inside of there, we have an ion label. And then inside the ion label, we're going to kind of add all the things we need. And we're going to add h1 for the title, h2 for the body. Then we're going to add the image name. And then we're actually going to add the image. So because we're going to have to do some padding around that, we're going to put a div. And then we're going to put the image inside of that, and that's an ion image, img. Okay, that's what we want. So now let's add a bunch of these imports because it doesn't have a label, doesn't have an image. So let's go, it's got the image. Ion label. Okay, so now it's just complaining because I'm not returning anything. All right, so let's return something. So we can just at the top level just return this guy. And so we're getting the empty fields for all the documents. And so now let's start to add everything. And remember I said we have the p.title. We have, so you know, the title, p.body, p.image, p.image.name. And then the last thing is inside the image, it's source. And this should be, remember you were using the same base URL here. And so we put that in, and then we don't need this. And then let's do this string interpolation. And then inside of here, we're going to use p.image.url to get the actual URL of the image. And now we have our page loaded. So now you can see all the data that was inside of our CMS. As an example of one of the documents. But if we go back, we can see the different documents that we have in here and them getting loaded. That was pretty straightforward. Simple HTTP requests, we get the data, and we get the images, and then we just format them. So a lot of the heavy lifting about setting up the content is handled by Strapi, and all we're doing is making API calls to get it. So that's that. Let's clean this up a little bit, put some classes on here. Class name, class name. Let's handle some of this text wrapping that we're getting if these field names are too long, and you can address that with this ion text wrap class. So let's put that in, and that should fix any text wrapping that we're getting with the titles. And let's make sure we do it on all of the fields. So add it there, add it there. The image name shouldn't wrap, but let's just get it in. Oh, actually the image name did wrap as soon as I said it shouldn't wrap. So we have that in place, and we're looping, we're showing our images. I think that's basically what we wanted to do. This first page is load up our data. Now the next thing we do is we need to actually get to our add image page. So to do that, let's go to our header and let's add a button to send us to the page. So inside of here, we're gonna ion buttons. Then inside of that, we put an ion button. Ion button, just one button. We're gonna call it add. We want the bottom to the end, so we do a slot end. So we push the button to the far side, and then on click, we want our button to take us to the other route that we set up earlier that I showed you. So we say on click, and then we will use our history. So we're going to say history. Let's do our use history first. So let's come down here and say use history so it can load it in for us. So that should have loaded use history in for us, and then we just say const history. And you see it added use history for us, and then we're going to use the history here. History.push, and we want to go to add item. And I believe it's add item. Let's copy this because we're going to need all this in the next one. Did I add everything? Let's see. Toolbar, buttons. So in the next page, we're going to need to come back. And since we're going to try to kind of treat it like a modal without making a modal, we're just going to add a back button. So let's just copy these buttons. And let's come over here. So now I click. And then when I get to my add page, kind of here's where I want to add these buttons. So we're going to add our button. We're going to call it cancel. And CEL, we want it on the end there. Let's add the color. Danger. And then here we just want to go back to take us back. All right. So cancel, go back. If I want to add, I go forward. I already have my buttons and stuff added. Sorry about that. But now we have the cancel. So this page, we are going to need to create kind of a form to capture these fields, which are not here. These fields, we're going to need a title, body, and we're going to have to do a hack to copy an image. I'm not going to import a camera. It's just a little too complicated for what we're trying to do here. We're just going to allow you to kind of select the file and upload the file to associate with the title, body, and image. So let's get onto the add item page. So let's start off. Let's do this. Last name, because we know we're going to get some items in here. And let's ion padding. Going to get some padding around that, and then this is going to be kind of a cut and paste trick. So ion item, ion label, and then after label it's ion input, right? Ion input. Type equals text, and then we are going to set it like that. And then we're going to need one of these for all three of the fields. And then it's complaining it doesn't add all missing imports. Let's see will it work. All right, it worked this time. Okay. Well, it didn't add my ion label. It did have my ion label. Okay, now let's add the labels for everything. So where are we? We have our ion label. Position, and we're going to say we want it stacked. And then we're going to call this title, T-I-T-L-E. Let's copy this title, body. Those are the two that we need. So I added the title and the body, and what's going on? What do I need this other one for? I needed this for the title body. I need this for the image. And so I don't actually need any of this. What we're going to do here is we're going to do add a button, ion button. And we're going to do slot end. And then this is how we're going to select the file. And what we want to do here is on click, what are we doing? Oh, I'm missing some brackets. So let's get a bracket there. Let's get a bracket there. Is that right? Parsing error expected. Yeah, expected me to close that out first. And then what's that doing there? That doesn't belong there. Why is an item in there? That doesn't belong there. Okay. So the trick we're going to do is we're going to add this hidden file input form, right? And so the trick is that when I click this button here, I want it to click the file input form. right? And then based on clicking the file input form, we'll get a file, and then from that file, we'll add that file to the content. So to do the fake click, we need a basic input form, and we're going to hide it. So where do we want to add it? It doesn't really matter where we add it, but let's add it down here at the bottom. So we'll say input, come on, input type equals file. Input type file, we're going to do on change. Because on change, we want to actually get the file that it found. So on change, I think we can just do this, get file. And that should send us the event. And then, so we have our button, we have our type, we have how we want it handled, and then we need a ref. So we're going to say ref file button, because that's how we're going to be able to send our fake click to it. And then we're going to say style equals, and then display none, because we don't want it to be visible. And then let's close this guy out. Okay, it doesn't know what get file is, so let's add that function up top here. Const get file. Get file should pass us an event. Also didn't type any, but from that event, let's console log what we're getting. Console log event dot target dot files, and we just want the first file. That's what we should be getting. Let's set up our ref that we're using. So we say const file button equals use ref null. All right. Let's import our use ref. Why is it complaining? File button sign of value but never used. And then let's go up here and let's try this, see if I can do it in my template. So on my click event, I wanted to say file button current, because it's a ref, click. And this is saying it might be null. So let's put our Elvis. We got to put Elvis here too. Click does not exist on type never. Oh yeah, let's do the same thing I did before. Let's put an any on here. And, oh, not bad. This is what I wanted to do. Unterminated string constant. Where did I leave I think that's just a leftover from the compile. All right, there we go. So now let's see. When I click on this, it should bring up the file dialog. So I clicked on it. Yes, it brings up the file dialog, and I get a file name back. So, and then my file got dumped here in the bottom, which is exactly what I wanted. So you can see the file I got selected. Okay, so I just need to get my text, my title, and my body, and my file. So now let's see if we can format this page, clean it up a bit. We want to keep, so let's do this. Let's go up here. I normally would use something like React form. Since I'm not, and we're just doing it quick and dirty, we're just going to write a bunch of use state const here. So we're going to say const. We're going to say title dot set title. And I think you kind of know what the rest of this is going to look like. So let's just quickly do it. All right. So now that's all the form information that we need. So now inside of all these inputs, we need to do let's do an on change. I think I'm going to have to test this. Set title. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, my bad. So I messed up on this. On the Ionic ones, you need to do the on ion change. So so now you can see we're getting the values as I enter it. So my state is getting set because I'm logging out the title value. So now let's kind of do it across the rest of these fields. So let's go down here and do it for my body. So we can set body. What we want to do for the item for the file name is we want to here inside of get file, we want to take this and we want to take the name and we want to do set file. So we're going to set file to this whole object that we got back. And then we're going to take the actual name and just display the name here in the row. And so this should be file.name. So let's try that out. And so we get the file name for the file I selected. We enter the body. So now we have all the fields. Let's put a button here to kind of save everything. Let's create that function that gets called once we actually do have all the input values. And so let's call that save the image post. Let's call that function save the image post since that is what we're saving, the image post. So let's just go down here. We'll call save the image post. And inside of save the image post, we're just going to console log our values. So the first thing we want to do is to get all our values. We're going to say const, we're going to say email, not email, we're going to say title and body. And then we'll say equals, oh, it's all about, they're in separate ones, my bad. My bad. So we're going to say console log email, why do I keep saying email? Title, body. So we know that we got the fields that we needed, and this guy's complaining because it's not being used, and so let's go add it to the button. So let's just copy this button because I'm lazy. Let's go down here, and outside of my content, so underneath here is where I'm going to put this button. And so let's go down to right before the content ends. Yeah, let's go down here. Let's put a div because we're probably going to need to add some padding so it's not sitting right on top of the last item. Just drop our button in, and what we want to do here when this guy's called, we want to call save the image post. And we want to just call this save. And we don't want it to be danger. We want it to be normal, and we're going to expand block. We get the button going all the way across. And like I said, we probably want some padding, so let's do style, padding top 8. Where's it complaining? The number's not. Oh, what am I doing? 8. There we go. So we got a little bit of space between that, and so let's just be save image post. POST. All right, and so now let's put some text in, text, file, open, save the image post, and it dumped what we got. Okay, so that took us a while, but we got our form set up. We were able to enter a title, a body, and select the file that we want to upload with our image post. So the last part that we need to do is actually put some meat in this function, save the image post, to actually upload the file. So the way you work with media in Strapi is first you upload the file or the media object, so upload file, and then after that you actually save image post. So that's what we're going to do next. this the basic JavaScript code is the same whether it's in Vue or whether it's React. So we're just going to copy over that exact same code to kind of save us time, and then I'll just kind of explain it. So let's start with actually uploading the image. All right. So first of all, the default URL that you use is this. We've seen it a few times. And so what we want to do here is we're creating a form data object. And then in the form data, we want to append the file that we want to upload. And the file that we want to upload is right here in our file. So that's what we want to pass to get uploaded is the actual file that we have selected. And then what you do is you take the URL, the path is upload, you pass the form data, you do a post, you get a JSON response, and then you get the info here in this file info. So let's, this is an image, it's just a file, but let's just kind of upload it and see if we get what we want. So let's, so we uploaded the file. This is the response that we got back from Strapi it's called. So you see it returned a list of objects of what got uploaded. Let's move this in the center screen so everyone's not squinting. And so it gave us when it was created, it told us what type of file it was, created a hash for it. We have a unique ID. This ID is what we're going to use to associate this media object to our image post. It determined the MIME type, and it gave us a bunch of other stuff. There's no preview URL because this guy isn't really an image. So I'm actually going to delete it from the system to make sure that we don't try to render an image. But this just shows you that we successfully uploaded the file. And as I said, to successfully upload the file, we create this form data object. We append the file object that we got from clicking here on this file button. We do a post. We pass as the body the form data. We get the response back, and then we dump out the response. So that's what we got here. Okay, so the next part is to actually upload the post. And so to upload the post, we need to get the title, we need the body, and then we're going to take the ID from the file info for the image, and we're going to send that up also. So, and like I said, this code is the exact same also for Vue.js or React. So we'll just copy over the code, and I will kind of explain to you what's going on. So let's copy over the same image post. So we are going to, so this is the URL path you use to upload the post. The post, we're passing the title, the body, and the image up. The image, it isn't, so it's the file info and the ID is what we add to the image. The body and the title are coming from these use state, so that's how we get those values. We stringify that, we send it up as a post. Remember to set the content type to application JSON. We get the response back in JSON, and I'm just logging it out so that you can see the object that was actually saved. But at this point, the object should officially be in the CMS. So let's reset this, and let's go back to cancel. Let's look and see what's the last image we got is this. This is for React, description React. I'll probably use the same photo again because it's easier. So let's go and add an image. So test add image. Let's copy that. So we'll just say the body for test add image. Let's select the image to upload. What's this guy? So we've selected this image, and then now let's save it and see if we get everything we expect. So we got an image, and then we got a document. And let's go take a look and see what we got added to the system. And here, this is, what was it called? Test add image. So here's test add image, test add image, test add image, test add body image. Here's the image that we uploaded. We can check that by looking in our media library. We can see here's this image that we uploaded. There's the file name, DSC6138 JPEG. So we know we uploaded the file, and we have the image in our content. And then when I think the one thing that isn't here, so let's cancel this and go back. See, it didn't add the image, right? So we need to find a way to make sure that whenever we come inside of this page, since we're not using a state machine or anything, just every time we come here, we want to we want to query and load the data again. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and use a an Ionic lifecycle. It is a, oh, it's use, sorry. Use Ion view did enter. And so it's a lifecycle method, it's a callback, and I should be able to use this Ion to load my data every time the view's entered. So let's see if I can just change this. Well, let's see if that will solve my problem. So it looks like it did work because it loaded my data. So I think I use Ion view did enter is right. The question now is when I go to add. So the idea is I want to go to add a document, and then when I go back, it should call use Ion view did enter and reload the data. So that's the behavior I'm looking for. The last thing also that I want to do is here, after we've completed this, we need to actually just go back. So we're going to borrow the code that we have in our top button here. Where is our button? Oh, sorry, our button is down here. We just want to go back, all right? So let's go down here. If everything is fine, then just history, go back and go back to the previous page. So, all right, let's reload everything. Let's go to add. Select the file. Where's the orange shirt guy? Oh, there I am, the orange shirt guy. Save image post, everything saved. Go to the bottom, and it did actually reload the data. And then let's do a hard reload, empty cache hard reload to make sure it's loading the data at startup. So it's there. So that was kind of like a quick run through of how to connect Strapi Headless CMS to a React project. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of balance it out. I did it with Vue, I did it React. I'm going to probably go back to Vue and actually show you how to authenticate a user and add a user to it, and I'll do it in React and I'll do it in Vue. Hopefully you enjoyed this content. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.